Day 4 of the summer shred, and as promised from yesterday, I'm going to be talking about protein. Now, protein really has become pretty much the granddaddy of fat loss, post-weight loss surgery, and indeed just in diet in general. I think when people thought of protein maybe a decade ago, it would have been more Arnie, show them the whole thing, putting on muscle mass. I remember my first protein shake, it was a Maxi Muscle from Tesco. I don't think you can get Maxi Muscle anymore. And I remember thinking I was going to be absolutely wedged by the next day, and of course it didn't materialise that way. But the point being is that it seems to be a bit more related to fat loss, and with good reason too, okay? Yes, protein is very good for building muscle mass, but if you're in a calorie deficit, you're probably more in the game of retaining muscle mass. That is a very healthy thing to do. We don't want to lose muscle mass as part of a diet. It's okay to go quite a bit more extreme with a deficit, but we should be very, very mindful of protecting muscle mass throughout. As long as we're getting our vitamins, our minerals, and indeed our protein and fiber in, the deficit you can play around with to a certain extent. But protein is super important, okay? Now, I think there's a lack of understanding around protein. The reason why it's so important towards fat loss, I'm going to list the reasons in a moment, but I think it's quite important to realise that for every gram of protein is 4 calories. So it's not particularly, well, it's not high calorie at all, you know. It obviously depends what you have it with sometimes. If you have a breast of chicken and then breadcrumb chicken, there's going to be more carbohydrates in there, sometimes some fat in there as well. So it's going to increase the calorie of the actual product, but the protein is only 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. So, for example, I tend to aim for around 200 calories, 180 to 200 calories per day. I'll talk about that in a second. So that's around about 800 calories of my diet. I tend to eat at the moment during the summer shred, as I said the other day, 2,450 calories. So it's still only a third of my diet.
That's fast math. We could use you in Tulsa.
Some people are like, whoa, 200 grams, that sounds like so much. Well, it's not. It's a third of my diet. It equates to around sort of 33% of my diet, and that's, a nice place to be. The reason why there's such an encouragement to eat more these days, other than the health benefits, is because so many people who are putting on weight or have a high BMI aren't eating enough of it. And it's because protein's very filling, okay? So protein's, if you've got eating optimal protein, which is around 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein versus pound of body weight. It does vary from obese people, and it does vary post-weight loss surgery, because naturally it's going to be hard to get that amount in if you've got a higher BMI. If someone weighs 250, 300 pounds, it's not really expected, certainly post-weight loss surgery, that you're going to be hitting, 250 grams of protein. But we want to make sure we're getting enough in to optimize our health as much as we can. But like I said earlier on, it fills us up. And if you think someone who is carrying more weight perhaps isn't getting the benefits from feeling full, so they overcompensate and eat snackier type things. And honestly, when I ask people to document their diet for me and they haven't got an awareness of protein, a lot of the time they're hitting 10, 15% of their diet's protein. And of course, the other 3 macronutrients are carbs, fat and alcohol. Those 3 put together, you can see why weight gain can start to occur, right? There's not a lot of fullness there other than the fibre from carbs. And let's face it, a lot of people who are putting on weight aren't eating fibrous vegetables and fruit either. I've digressed. Protein is very filling. It's also very metabolic. So what that means is when we're losing weight, our BMR tends to go down. And obviously it depends how much weight we're looking to lose. As part of this summer shred, I'm only really looking to lose half a stone. So it's not going to make that much of a difference. But again, weight loss surgery wise, or indeed if it is a longer journey, the idea is that you're going to lose a lot of weight. Your BMR, your resting heart rate goes down. Things like, so when I say your resting heart rate goes down, that is a metabolic feature, right? It's something that the body's doing involuntary. When we weigh less, when we move, you're going to burn less calories because you weigh less. If you picked up 2 10-kilogram dumbbells and walked down to the bottom road and back, you're going to burn more calories compared to if you're not doing that. So if you've lost weight, it's easier to move around. That's a good thing, but you're going to burn less calories in general. But that sort of fire, that metabolism, if you like, is essentially the metabolism. Eating the right amount of protein, lifting weights and doing that sort of stuff is a very metabolic process. Increases sleep quality. This is a good furnace for energy while in a calorie deficit. When you're in a calorie deficit, you want to use all the kind of energizing features you've got.
Oi, go. Oi, more passion, more passion, more passion, more energy, more energy.
And that combo seems to be quite good, okay? It's also great for other features, enzyme function, red blood cell production, cell regrowth. Protein's super important towards our health. And it's really good that this understanding has come across here. But truth be told is, a lot of people when it comes to weight loss, all they care about is the weight loss. Is how's protein going to help me lose weight? It fills you up and it's very metabolic long term. That's a good combination towards diet. But please, really, really appreciate the other health benefits that it provides. So Again, so looking at my first video that I did the other day around sort of working out your macronutrients, I think, look, if someone has no idea what protein is, and they haven't really experienced this before, they've got to go and find new options. Of course, protein lives in fish, meat, nuts, Greek yogurt, eggs, lentils, beans, quinoa. There's many options when it comes to that. It seems that everything in supermarkets seems to be protein something these days, protein Weetabix and protein this and that. There is supplementation as well, and supplementation is kind of like the excuse killer to not hit protein. You shouldn't just have supplementation, but it's there to, clues in the title, supplement the diet. So for example, a shake, or indeed you get protein bars. The only thing about those is they can be quite expensive, but if you're hitting say 60, 80 and looking to get 100, have a shake, 20 grams, 25 grams usually, you've hit your target. And that is essentially supplementation in a nutshell. Like I said earlier on, when I had my first maxi muscle, you think it's going to do something quite quickly overnight. It doesn't, but it will aid you in hitting targets that are quite important towards long-term success and health. If I was looking to hit my protein on a day-to-day basis and I didn't know what I was doing that much, I would probably aim for about 100 just to start. Don't worry too much about your body weight or what have you, because a lot of people are getting nowhere near 100 grams of protein. If you think people wake up, might have breakfast, might not, tend to have cereal, maybe a bit of milk in the protein there. They might have a snack, a mid-morning snack that's not protein. Some fruit probably is a healthy option, or a croissant that's not a healthy option. They might have a meal deal, a ham sandwich and a pack of crisps and a Diet Coke for lunch. Some rubbish in the afternoon just getting through the day. They get home into dinner and they've basically got a bit of milk and a bit of ham that's like their protein, and probably run on about 20 grams of protein, okay? Is there any wonder people get very hungry when they're stressed out and tired and not full in the evening? They're going to want to consume more, aren't they? Whereas I tend to say, as rule of thumb, if we can make the first thing we have protein, let's get the day off to a good start. Now, some people struggle with breakfast and protein, because I appreciate people everyone wants to get up and cook eggs and things like that. This is where supplementation could be helpful. Certainly Greek yogurt's a good option. But I appreciate it can be difficult on the go sometimes with breakfast, but I would say a Greek yogurt with some fruit, or you can even get some sort of strawberry or blueberry based ones at the moment. This one here, can I do this really easily without knocking stuff over? Yes, I can. Give me 1 second. This one here is from Aldi. It's absolutely awesome. Fat-free natural yogurt. And looking at this per sort of portion, so 125 grams, provides 7.4 grams of protein. That's only 78 calories. I put a scoop of my protein powder into that, and you're talking, up north of sort of 20 grams. It's delicious. It's very filling. It's nice. I'll probably put that in the fridge pretty soon, but I'll need to. But it's got this fantastic way of being very creamy, but not being high in fat or anything like that. It's awesome. Anyway, I've digressed. That's a good start to the day. At lunch, I think pre-planning's good. Can we cook? Maybe have double. Compensate from the food from the dinner the night before and bring that in as lunch the next day, or indeed just look at packages. And that's the number one message I want to get across here. I don't really like meal plans. I don't think people stick to them long term. They might work for a week or so, but just because I say you have to have salmon and rice on a Wednesday, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's just like, I think what I'd rather people do is go out, look at packages, learn, empower, find what works for them. Of course, you can report back to me and I can sort of steer in the right direction. I think hex sausages are a great go-to. Chicken hex sausages seem to be 180 calories, 35 grams of protein for 5 sausages or so, which is fantastic. But explore, try, see what's out there. Corn's a good one randomly, I think. So it's almost a low-calorie red meat. Not that red meat's bad for you, but like I said earlier on, it tends to be a combination of fat and protein, whereas corn seems to be a bit less so on that front. So there's lots of options out there. There's no doubt about that. The companies are really buying into this protein side of things, and so should we. And I think exploring, looking at packages rather than asking what's good, which I hear so much, it's not a case of what's good. What's good for you is going to be going out and trying these things. Okay, so I think for me that is the main message here. Let's start the day well. Let's go into the evening, probably on sort of 50 to 60 grams. Again, post weight loss surgery, it's going to be in those early stages a bit tricky to do that. But can we look to progress it over the course of time? Because even 100 grams of protein, which can seem like quite a lot post weight loss surgery, or indeed if you don't know much about protein, 100 grams of protein is only 400 calories. And depending on what you're aiming for, that's going to be probably less than 33% of your day. Okay, so that's kind of protein in a nutshell. I hope there was some value from that. There's so many things you can go around with it, but it's a super important macronutrient. I'm not going to go on here and say it's the most important, because I think fat can be really important. If we go too low fat, that can be really detrimental towards our health. but it is very important that we are hitting targets on a day-to-day basis for our overall health, and you can be rest assured it will complement muscle retention and indeed fat loss long term as well. All the best from me. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.